Welcome back to the Realism EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, we're back to 100% EV owners.
I ran over
comments. Yeah,
I backed up into
FSD
him,
Beta
and it
killed
felt like
Nick.
a mountain. Right? Yeah.
Emotional.
Hashtag not clickbait. Buy a Ridge wallet. Hi everyone, I'm back.
Oh God, we're going on the ridge. But thanks for coming back, Mike. I'm sorry we couldn't get you on last week, but I wanted to give you.
I somehow missed Nick. I don't know how this happens.
We can't.
He finally
you guys
comes
are
back.
Like polarizing magnets. One of you has to leave if the other one shows up. It's like your schedules are perfectly aligned to not overlap. It's bizarre. But I don't know if you caught last week's episode, but I wanted to give you a chance to weigh in if you had thoughts that you wanted to share but felt like you couldn't because you weren't there.
Nick is wrong. Hybrids / gas cars suck. And I'm worried about the Cybertruck for Nick.
Yeah, I think he talked himself out of it at this point. So.
I think so, but that's all right.
I am not your failure. You didn't push me away from EVs. I did.
What?
I think this is what happens when you're waiting for such an amazing product like the Cybertruck that is vaporware, as many like to call it. I like to call it still in pre-production, or not even pre-production,
pre-production.
Development. But I think this is what happens, right? You have people waiting for it, and then they get tired of waiting, so then they buy Rivians and Hummers, which get not discontinued. They shut down the reservations for it because there's too many people buying it because they're waiting for Cybertrucks, and there's 90,000 waiting for this.
We're not in a recession. If they had to shut off orders on the Hummer EV, there's too much wealth in this world.
Exactly. So I think that's just what happens, right?
We should do our due duty and relieve them of their finances. All right, you want to order an EV? Here, I'll take your money.
Right. So people like Nick waited for the Cybertruck long enough, and they've realized, well, I don't have money for a Tesla, like a Model Y at the price it is. So I guess I'll settle for a Camry, in which I would say, yikes, but also, okay.
Oh, yikes.
I ain't kidding. God. I'm not kidding, but
yikes.
I think
yeah. I'm sorry. It's just that reaction is priceless. I mean, we love Nick.
Oh yeah.
I was just happy to have him back on the show again. So
I'm angry that I missed it.
Yeah. I would have loved for all of us to be there because I think it would have been spicy, but
yikes.
I think it was clear in my head talking to him that there was no amount of convincing I could do to try to get him back to the light side.
I'm sorry, Nick, for everything.
But
hello, Darth.
I didn't want to turn what was a catch up and like a reunion episode into an argument episode. I didn't want to like confront Nick and say, no, you need to buy, because the truth is so many people are buying EVs these days anyway. It's not like it's my sole purpose in life to convince as many people as possible to buy an EV. That's not my goal.
With Nick's career right now, he needs something that can go long distances and isn't going to cost him a whole car. Or like, well, I should re-say. I'm totally having a brain fart right now. Rephrasing it, something that doesn't break the bank. So
yeah,
totally fine, but not really. Yikes. I need to talk with Nick after this podcast. But what I did want to talk about that I somehow missed as well is I'm gone for like a podcast or 2 weeks, and we get 2 updates for FSD that provide a very different experience, in my opinion, to my daily commute, which I'm very surprised by.
Before you answer that, can I finish one thought?
No.
I'm
here.
I'm in charge.
I'm taking over.
I want to talk about Beta, but this was on the next subject. But someone named Chidorarzangans brought up a great point.
Because you're tight. You butchered that.
They brought up a point that I wish I would have brought up on last week's episode, which is that Nick needs an Aptera.
Yes.
That would have been perfect for his use cases, like not too expensive, but high range. I'm guessing Nick would have come up with some other excuse of why that doesn't work. Maybe it's the seating. Maybe it's
not being made right now.
It's also not available. That's probably the biggest problem. But yeah, if the Aptera did come out, I think we need to have Nick back on and say, so why not a 1,000-mile range Aptera? Because that can go further than your Camry, and it would cost way less to drive than your Camry would. Maybe the off-roading capability. I don't know. There might be some.
They have an off-road package.
But true.
You could take
Whatever
off the
that
panels.
means.
Well, you could take off the panels so that the wheels are exposed.
Nick
and it wouldn't
is
look
the
as
chosen one, so he will come back.
All right, Mace
We just
Windu.
need to wait until Palpatine is tasing his son, and then he'll come.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow, yeah.
So the chosen
Randy
one
is
came back.
Palpatine, but I think it's the Aptera that might push Nick over.
I didn't know that we had
but-
Kevin Spacey on the podcast. If anyone caught those
So-
Tales of Movie Reviews.
Be it. Jedi. Then you will die.
Yes, so-
No. All right. Space.
Nick, if you're listening, please comment your reason for not wanting the Aptera over a Camry, if it did exist, if it was out, but more reason to wait for the Aptera. Anyway, I need to hear about how the beta's performing, because I don't have one.
Yeah, what's up with that? What's up
Rub
with
it
that?
in, why don't you?
I thought you had a good safety score and all that.
I have a great safety score. It doesn't matter, because I guess something that nor Tesla or Elon has explained, but they've left the community to figure out for themselves, is that if your car is on a newer software version, they won't let you have the beta, because that's technically downgrading to an earlier quality of life update. So because I updated the car to 2022.28, that means that I can't get the beta until they roll out the beta for 2022.28, which we have no idea when that's going to be. Some people are saying early October. I don't know how they pretend to know, because Tesla is so weird with the beta rollouts. But I guess if I wanted the beta, I shouldn't have updated my car
One more time.
from... It's so mean, and it's so confusing that they
It's
don't
so
give you...
mean.
They don't give you proper steps for this. They're just
Welcome
like,
to the
oh yeah,
club."
press the beta button. And you just have to wait and then hope that people online tell you what to do. Because that's what, if I would have known that, I would have just kept it on the version that I was delivered with. But no one told me that, don't update your car if you want the beta.
I'm going to tell you what you told me a year ago. You'll get it by Christmas.
Yeah, you're probably right. Isn't that poetic?
Isn't it? Now you will know what it feels like to suffer. Why am I on this Star Wars thing?
Now you will experience the full.
This is your guilty conscience not finishing the Kenobi series with me, Randy.
I guess.
I guess I shouldn't be that upset, because you guys paid thousands of dollars for FSD and I paid $200. So
Oh
it's not
no,
the exact
you
same.
didn't get FSD Beta for $200.
Look at me. I subscribed and now I'm in queue.
Oh.
I gave Tesla $6,000 up front and waited years. You can wait. You can wait days. No, it is mean. It sucks that you don't get the.
I deserve no sympathy.
I kind of feel like they should at least be a little bit more like transparent about like by upgrade. I don't know. I'm not saying it's misleading, because one's just a beta, so it's like okay, but
when this is the only reason I'm paying, like I would not pay $200 for Summon, Navigate on Autopilot, or
Right,
Traffic.
yeah.
Like, I wouldn't pay anything for that. I'm purely just subscribing for the beta, and I can't get it because I updated my car, which I didn't realize was a no-no.
yeah.
When I got that update queue, I should have said, no, don't update the
It should
car. I
tell
want
you
the
that-
latest software,
it's
which
like,
is
hey,
why I'm not updating.
By doing this, you will not be in, you will remove yourself from queue of like there should be something there. Just give you the information and let you make an educated decision on that.
Mm-hmm. Add me to the queue.
Since
button.
I don't know how it's performing, how is it going, Mike?
It's going all right. From was it the first week when we finally got the first FSD update recently?
6.9.
Yeah, 6.9. My USB stopped breaking, which was great.
Hey,
I no longer have, in the last 2 weeks, I haven't had to unplug and replug the Sentry Mode dash cam USB / SD card thing, whatever the heck it is. It's like 4 or 5 different names for this thing. Haven't had to unplug it once, which is awesome and great.
Yeah.
It makes the driving experience a whole lot better, not having to fiddle with it every single time I drive to work. So that's been a great quality of life update. It also handles some turns a lot better.
more
A lot gooder.
Yes. Most pleasingly.
This car, it pleases me.
Most pleases me. But yeah, a lot of the turns.
Would you say it's the best it's ever been for you?
Yes. I'd say it's definitely the best it's ever been. The turn that kind of goes onto a road nearby my house that I've tested it a lot on whenever I first got the beta last year. It does that a lot more confidently, but it still, of course, needs some work. But it does it a lot better than it ever has before, which is awesome.
Okay, good.
And then
I like hearing that.
one weird right turn that like you don't necessarily need to put on your right turn signal because like the lanes kind of split, but it's not necessarily like it's a weird turn. Anyways, it does decent there. I'd say like maybe 2 or 3 times I've used it, it's kind of reverted back to what it was before, where it's a little bit unsure and slows down a bunch. But that's as simple as just putting your foot on the accelerator pedal just to have it maintain speed, and it deals with it fine.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's been getting better on that turn as well. So this was an update, and it was an improvement, which I'm very happy about. I even took it on a road that I usually don't activate it on, and it did decently. It maintained the highway speed there pretty well. Or I guess road speed. It wasn't really highway speed, but road speed. The velocity that they tell your car to go. So it did pretty well. So otherwise, I've been very happy with this update, and I think this should have come out sooner because I'm now realizing the amount of times I've unplugged and replugged that USB drive was ridiculous, beyond compare. And yeah, even with a car that has an Intel processor instead of the AMD Ryzen one, it still handles everything pretty well. So 2 thumbs up from me on the Tesla team on this update. And I hope for more of these type of improvements in the future where things get a lot more refined and not broken.
Yeah, because you had a lot of updates that made it perform worse, which is why I was excited to hear you say that this is the best it's ever been, because sometimes it's hard to tell if beta's getting better, because I think they fix it for some circumstances, but then that makes it worse in others.
Have you gotten to try it out yet, Randy?
No, I haven't. I will probably try it tomorrow, though. I think we're taking the Tesla out into the mountains to go do some apple picking. We're going to do some fall festivities now. So
nice.
I'm going to
pumpkin spice.
Yeah. So I think we'll take the car tomorrow. So I'll probably try it out then. I have no idea what in fact, only 2 days ago I actually took my car out for the first time in like over a week because of being on my apparent deathbed. I haven't done anything. I had a scheduled service appointment with Tesla about my cabin camera finally going and getting fixed, and I sent a message. I'm like, I'm dying. I can't. I'm so sick right now. I can't. I'm gonna have to push it out. So they were like, "Oh, we got the parts. We're finally ready to bring you in." I was like, "Great. I don't have the energy, and I can't." So
talk about out of sync.
Yeah, I know. So now I had to push it out to the end of the month, but then I just realized I don't even think that's gonna be viable. Anyway, so all that to say that I haven't even driven the car up until 2 days ago. I finally was like, the air is getting cooler. Let me go do that thing where I just drive around and feel the wind on my face. And didn't even realize that I even had an update or anything like that. It wasn't until I got prompted. I parked the car and I, went in the house, come out later, and it had all this the update notes. I was like, wait, what? So I'm like, whoa, okay, hang on. So I do look forward to trying out, but as of right now, I haven't done it yet. So tomorrow will be my test run.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to hear it maybe next week.
You know what I'm excited about?
Miles on it.
Segue. Drew got to drive a 2018 Model 3, and I want to know how that went. Besides the obvious,
Yeah.
I want to hear a more after video post update, all that. Or if people don't even know what we're talking about, tell people what's going on if they didn't catch that video, if they don't know what I'm talking about.
So I had my second Tesla service visit this week.
Second of many.
Second. And many more. But, I told them when I got there that the Uber credits don't work for me because I live in a place that Uber doesn't drive to. So I brought my laptop and everything, and I had pre-recorded some videos, and I said, I'm just going to be here in your lobby until the car is done. And I can't stream. I can't do what I normally... I'm missing work for this. So if there's any way you can accelerate me in the repair process or do anything so that I'm not without a car or a way to get home, that would be very much appreciated. I know you're busy and whatever. And he said, okay, well, we normally don't do this, but we have a loaner vehicle and we'll let you have it for the next couple days, however long it takes for us to service your car. Because he said, I could rush it. I could tell my guys to fix it as quickly as possible, but they might skip steps or they might, not review it on the highway or whatever if we try to accelerate. So he said, you probably don't want me to do that anyway. But I was excited because I was hoping they were going to have like a Model S and X loaner or something. I thought that'd be fun. But
Imagine Model
2018
X
Model 3 was still cool. Feeling all the differences. And people corrected me in the comments. It's before they went vegan leather on the interior. So the steering wheel is leather at that point. And it feels awfully different than the one in my car. And the frunk is a lot bigger in the 2018 model, that's for sure. The AC is cold a lot faster, which I was reassured in the comments that's not a placebo. Some people were telling me I was wrong, that the heat pump is slower to cool the car down, but that's the resistive style HVAC system is more... it uses more energy, but it's more effective.
Yep.
Like, as soon as we got in the car, even though it was in the sun, we turned on the AC and it just blasted ice cold air right away. And I was like, whoa, this is kind of nice.
Nice.
Yeah. I liked that. And I liked the position of the wireless charger better because I could see the whole phone where it was sitting, whereas I can't see my whole phone in my car. But yeah, I'm listing all the nice things because obviously it's an older model, so there's a lot of not nice things. Like I don't like the rubber scroll wheels; they felt way cheaper, and
They don't like you either.
I didn't like
Drew.
the.
Coming from two
Just
people
not
who
used to
have
it.
the rubber. You're the one with the nice premium metal scroll wheels.
Those scroll wheels feel so, like night and day better on the new ones, but
Not only do they feel cheaper, my car was cheaper, so take that.
how much did you pay for your car again?
I don't remember anymore.
forget.
49, I think. 40?
40.
41?
How
41? 49? 45? 40? I gotta go watch the video. I don't remember.
40,000?
There's a big-
40,000?
I mean,
I gotta go watch the video.
I
don't
feel
remember.
like we paid close to the same amount.
I got mine
especially
in
'cause you
7
got
days, so
FSD.
you suck.
You suck, Drew.
You suck, Drew.
But the no powered trunk was a big annoyance. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you have to
I got nothing for that.
lift it and push really hard on the way down. I was like, oh, this is terrible. And also the door on the loaner they gave me was severely broken. So I had to slam the driver's side door many times and it still wouldn't close because the door handle would get like stuck in the open position and you would slam it as hard as you could and it still wouldn't latch. And I was like, man, this is really annoying.
Would the car
But,
drive with it not latching? Or did you even try?
I didn't even try because it beeps at you so much if
So
you try
then
to
no.
put it in drive with the
Okay.
door open. It's like so much noise. But
I
will
paid
say that the road-
41.5.
He found it.
with FSD. That doesn't sound right.
No, I
41.
did not buy FSD on day one. I put that on my credit card.
Okay. Wow. So the long range dual motor was 41,000.
I paid
at a
I
point?
paid 41.5, and yeah, I'm
Wow.
That's after.
That was probably around when the standard
Taxes.
range got announced.
So well, okay. So the car price was 51.1 to include taxes and fees, but
Okay.
I had a trade in for 7,000. My deposit took off.
Okay. So your total out the door, like before trade in and everything, was 51.
51.1. Yeah.
Okay.
If we take away the deposit, we take away trade in, then I'm looking at 51.1. That's what I paid.
Okay. We almost paid the exact same amount then.
How much did you pay?
Out the door, 55, like not 55K, 50,500 after the clean fuel reward and everything. So
No
It's-
clean fuel reward. I didn't include that. I didn't include none of that.
well, okay.
I didn't
We're
get
not
none
counting
of it,
the
so I
wrap.
don't have to.
We're not. I didn't include the wrap. I didn't include the wrap. I don't include my rebates or the tax credits. I'm just telling you what I had to pay.
Okay. We basically day of purchase paid the same amount then.
You paid 51.1.
I mean, yeah. I mean, technically it was 51 something. But the clean fuel rewards point of sale technically. So it doesn't, that's not cash you get back later. At least it's not supposed to be, but
No, we're talking sticker price. What the?
yeah.
I also paid 51.
No, you did not.
My car.
You know you didn't.
You don't know that.
But
I bought it in China.
he had it imported. Oh yeah.
I've
So,
secretly
yeah,
been
like-
driving LFP this whole time.
Yeah. It had some improvements that I appreciated. Like the footrest actually has padding on the 2018 model. And the 2022 one does not. It's just carpet. Because I think they figured out that if you take out that padding for the footrest, then the accessory companies that develop the floor mats will just incorporate a cover in the floor mat anyway. So that probably saved Tesla some money and just made the floor mat company have to do a bit more work. But so that was a little bit of a downgrade. There's no passenger lumbar support anymore. The old car had that, but I can tell you confidently Louise has never touched it when we were in the 2018 model. And she's never asked, like, why can't I adjust lumbar support? And like she's never asked for it. So I didn't feel like I was missing out on too much going back to my car, but the service has been quite disappointing.
Tell
There's
me.
a lot more to talk about. in
Ooh,
that
tell me.
regard.
Tell me.
Tell me more.
It's not a surprise.
No, I'm
preaching to the-
I'm connecting with you right now because
I'm preaching to the choir today.
I want to hear.
uh,
I want to know that I'm not just a jerk of a Tesla owner. I want to know that this is a
No.
problem.
So, like, the first time the rear driver's side window was misaligned on delivery. You can even see it in the delivery video. And I showed that to the service guys. I sent them pictures and everything, and they said, yeah, that's out of spec. We can fix that. So we drove all the way there, and we had to drop me off and get me in the gas car, drive the gas car all the way back, which once you've been in a Tesla and you're driving a gas car again, it's like, ugh. Ugh, it's disgusting. And you're burning gas, so ugh.
Yeah.
Not a great situation to be in. They gave me the Uber credits, which I couldn't use, and then once we picked up the car after the first service visit, I look at it and it's still misaligned. It feels like they didn't do anything. and we'd been gone all day, and the app told me ready for pickup. Your service is complete. So I go inside and I said, "Did you not get to it? Like, what happened?" And he said that the component they need to replace that trim is damaged. And we thought we had one in stock, and it turns out we didn't. So we're ordering the new part, and it should get here in a couple weeks, and we'll have you come back. And I was like, ugh. I mean, he was very friendly about it and very apologetic. So I was like, okay, well, thank you. But I was still overall annoyed. So when the app was like, "How was your service visit? How would you rate it?" I was like, 3 stars. They were like, "What could we improve on?" I was like, fixing what I asked.
Everything.
And everything. What did you do right? And I type in the comments like, his name was Mike, ironically. Mike did a great job and was very, apologetic. And I'm grateful for how I was treated personally, but the problem was not solved. So I'm not giving you high ratings, but they said they realigned it with the existing component a little bit. So I noticed the wind noise was not as bad after the second visit. So he's like, "We didn't do nothing, but it's not where we want it to be." And I did notice the wind noise was not quite as loud at high speed. So I was like, okay, it's a little bit better, but we're going to go back in a few weeks and hopefully they can fix it for good. So the second time they gave me the loaner, and they said that it might not be done till the next day. So I thought I might have the loaner for 2 days, but then they alerted me and said, "Nope, the repair's done today, so you can bring it back same day." So I'm impressed with the speed of the service and the whole like app management process of like you send them a picture and your car goes into service mode and they tell you when it's ready for pickup. And none of this has costed me anything, at least from Tesla. I've had to pay for gas or whatever. But aside from that, I go to the second service visit, and it looks fixed. It's realigned. The window's not out of placement. Everything looks great. And I go, okay, thank God. Like, we finally got this working out. The window's perfectly flush the way it's intended to be. We get in the car, and we're like, okay, there shouldn't be any wind noise this time. I'm excited that we finally got the car fixed. And we go up at high speed, and it's definitely quieter. I would say it's like 80% quieter. But there's just a little bit more.
There's a cricket whistling back there.
It sounds like a tiny cricket, and it's only it's more noticeable at higher speeds, but it's the sound. The best way I can describe it is if a window is just down a little bit. It's the type of feeling of, oh, is that window not rolled up all the way? And you go, oh yeah, and then you roll it up.
Start slamming door like the 2018.
But it was such it's such a quiet noise that I can't decide if I want to go back or not. Because for one, the guy I spoke to, it's the first guy you meet when you walk in the service center, was like, "My last day here is Friday," which is today, the day we're recording it. He's like, "This is my last day here, not because they're firing me, but because I'm going on paternity leave. And also they're wanting to replace my job with a touchless drop-off process." So far they've done a lot of touchless pickups. So when you're done with customer service, you can just go up to the car, the key's in it, and you just get in and go. You don't have to talk to anyone, which I like that part. But the first 2 times I've gone to the service center, I walk inside with my key and I explain, I have an appointment and here's the problem. Let's look at it together. How quickly can you figure this out? And there's someone to talk to, which I appreciate. And now knowing that if I go back, it's just going to be a drop off and I'm not going to get to explain to anybody, here's the problem. Here's what I would like you to fix. When can it be done? That scares me. And also the fact that it's a chore for us. We're not close to a service center, so we have to like plan our day around. And he said that they don't normally do the loaners. So I'm not convinced I'll get another loaner if I go back. And that means I might be stuck at the service center all day. And there's a possibility that they'll keep it overnight. In that case, we're going to have to drive the gas car all the way to the service center, all the way back home. And we've got just a lot of stuff going on in our personal lives right now, off the record, just family stuff, that we could have had this second service visit weeks ago, but we couldn't just because of how busy we were. Like the part was ready. We weren't waiting on Tesla. We were waiting for us to have free time to be like, let's drive all the way there and drive all the way back and do all that. So I'm trying to decide this week whether or not this little slight road noise or wind noise sound is worth going through the service visit again, because I'm still kind of ticked off that they didn't even like want to mention after they fixed it that it's not like completely fixed.
Yeah.
Like the whole point, I don't really care about cosmetic things. I can say after ownership now, I don't care about panel gaps. That doesn't bother me. I don't care about even the paint chipping or rock chips or anything. Like I don't have a ceramic coating. I just wipe off the bugs here and there, and I'm like, yeah, it looks fine, looks great. I'm not, what is it called, pixel peeping equivalent of cars. I'm not like, there's a slight scuff right here. Like, I'm not about the cosmetics. Mm-hmm. My biggest annoyance is unwanted sound. That's why I hated Navigate on autopilot. That's why I hate the chimes, and Joe mode's not quiet enough, and especially when the car is really close to objects. Like my grandma's house has a gate in front of it, and I have to drive through this gate every time we go check on her. Every time I go through the gate, it does the whole boom, 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 boom. It's like, stop. It thinks I'm going to hit something. I'm clearly not. I've done this driveway a million times and I've never hit the gate. But every time those little sensors are like, watch out. I hate those noises. They get old. Every time I'm back into my garage, it's like, boom, 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 boom. Every time I pull out of the drive. Like, there's nothing in front of me. There's clearly enough space on both sides of the car for us to open up the doors all the way and get out. There's enough space. I'm just driving forward. I'm not even turning. I'm just driving straight forward, and it's like, boom, 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 stop. You're going to hit the wall. You're going to hit the... Like, unwanted sound is one of the most annoying things to me. And that's why, like, Randy can attest after... and Mike, too, meeting me in person. All my devices are on silent. They never make a notification sound. I don't have... dinging, or if anyone ever hears the iMessage ding, like my wife goes, was that you or me? And I'm like, if it makes a sound, it's you, because my phone doesn't do that, my Mac doesn't do that, my iPad does, nothing makes a sound. So I can get used to it. Like, been driving it around now for the past few days, and it's not like as bad as it was. It's still an improvement. The window looks the way it's supposed to look, so cosmetically it's all fine. The noise is quieter than it's ever been, but it's still there. It's making me think, like, do I want to go through this process again? Because they didn't even ultimately fix the problem 2 times in a row now. So every time I go back, I'm hoping they fix it, but how am I sure that they're not going to unintentionally create another problem or bring it back with some other issue that I'm like, well, you made this worse, though, because it feels like that's what happened. It feels like I didn't notice this. It's right next to the driver window, so it's like right in my left ear, but it's not the back window anymore. So it feels like the problem of the wind noise like moved from the back of the car to the front, and I'm just trying to decide whether or not it's worth going back over, or I should just live with it and accept that, all cars have quirks, all cars have little things you just get used to as time goes on. Eventually it just becomes the car. And I'm all in... I get the argument of, like, you paid a lot for this car, it should be perfect, there shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I know, there shouldn't be. But I don't know if I trust anyone to service it at this point. Like, I agree it shouldn't be this way, but that doesn't change the situation. And I know that if I guess what's... Sorry, I've been going for so long.
No, you're fine.
If you...
Keep going.
If I'm honest with myself, the disappointing thing about it is I know I don't want any other car. Like, I am a believer of voting with your wallet, and I know that as soon as if I tried a different EV, if I tried a ID4 or Ioniq 5, I would complain about the screen, I would complain about the software, I'd complain about the updates or the charging network. So I'm like, this is, for all intensive purposes, for the sake of the argument, this is my dream car. We could talk about Model X's or whatever, but as far as what's financially viable and practical, this is the best I think there is. And it's just kind of reality setting in that the best is not perfect. Mm-hmm. And there is no solution to a lot of these. It's like, I could have bought the Plaid Model X and I probably would have had quality control issues too. And the service team would probably try their best and then botch it or not repair it as well as they should. And I've been watching people that bought the most expensive Teslas, and they still have issues like this. And little things like, talking with Warren Redlick last week, he said he got a Plaid Model X and the left scroll wheel's broken. Like, that's not working. And I'm like, see, that would bug the heck out of me. And I've heard it all before. I know Tesla's got their quality control problems, but to me, like, you just have to either take your money elsewhere if you're comfortable with a different vehicle. But I know for a fact I wouldn't be comfortable with another vehicle because of the dated tech and the dated software and the charging network, and I would be annoyed by a different set of things.
Right.
So this was my first big car purchase, and I think oh God, my wife has a term for it. I keep forgetting. But basically it's something, it's like an endless staircase, essentially. Once you reach a new level of lifestyle, whether it's a new house or a new car, your base level of happiness resets fairly quickly. So I'm trying to fight that the best I can by acknowledging I really hated our last car. I really didn't like the Sonata. I hated the gas. I hated the cruise control. She just texted me. Hedonic treadmill. Thank you, honey. I didn't know she could hear me. The hedonic treadmill is the statement for, like, once you have things that you wanted for a long time, you take them for granted very quickly. And I feel that happening with the Tesla. Like, I hated having to manually unlock the car every time. I hated the transmission, starting the car, driving to the gas station. I hated having to lock the car manually every time. Now I just have the phone key. I just walk and get in. I have autopilot. I have adaptive cruise control. I have all these great things that I was so hyped for, but my mind continues to dwell on little issues. Like, that road noise, though, isn't what I want. Or that little door kind of makes a cracking sound sometimes in the side. My brain maybe is just so accustomed to finding issues whenever I'm driving or things that bother me that now that I have the dream vehicle, it's like, not living up to that impossible standard that I may have set it to.
I think the criticism is warranted, Drew, because I've been through something very similar with your case, except instead of an audio issue, it was a functionality issue with the tailgate. So there was more of an urgency of, I don't care how many times I have to bring this in. It's going to suck if I have to bring it in 12 times, but it needs to get fixed because it's breaking the car. Yours is now, it's not injuring the car, but it's injuring your experience with the car, which I think is a lot more damaging because, like you've said, it is your dream car. So I think from hearing what you've said, it makes total sense. And I don't think it's unwarranted at all to go back again and try to get this problem fixed, even if it's going to take a couple more visits. But with the restrictions that you have, that makes it tricky. So if it's
a headache.
Yeah.
This whole process.
If it's that much of an issue, go for it, because this, at the end of the day, is your car and you are going to notice it. No one else is really going to notice it because no one else is there. It's you and Louise. So it only makes sense if you want to have a great driving experience. I don't think ignoring it is going to help because I don't think your mind is like that where you're going to ignore it. Like you said, you're that sensitive to audio.
Well, furthermore, this isn't a non-issue. There is something wrong with it. There's something wrong with it. They said there's something wrong with it. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. So that lingering in the back of your mind is like, it's not where it's supposed to be. And two, it's not, I'm not crazy. It's actually, there's something wrong. So if I encountered anything like that, you're fixing I give you, what I say, 51. I gave you my money, fix it. Like that. I don't care. Like I do.
Yeah, and I believe that. I just mean, like, I've done it twice now and they haven't fixed it. So what's the
into the game
of insanity?
I mean, at this point, take it.
Do I do it 10 times? Do I do it 15 times?
No. Well, okay. If you want to have that conversation, are you willing to spend money and go somewhere else to get it fixed?
even less so. I know if I take it to Tesla, it's going to be free because it has been so far.
But where's that? But Insanity, it's not fixing it. It's free, but then is it a matter of you get what you pay for?
I would rather try to fix it myself, basically, than pay someone else that's not Tesla to try to fix it, because of the terrible experiences I've seen from, I don't know if Randy's seen it, but Mike has seen. Lynn in the Discord has had a terrible time with his third-party repair.
Poor Lynn.
I have not seen that. No.
It's a nightmare. They took his car, I guess,
and
a little bit of context. He got crashed into by a car. And so the back of his Y has some issues that need fixing. Now go, Drew. Goodness. Brain.
Well, yeah. I mean, they need fixing, but they took his car and provided, like, no updates for, like, weeks. And they kept saying, oh, we'll have an answer for you by the end of the week. And then they kept pushing it back further and further and further. So because of what I paid for the vehicle and because of how complicated it is, and Randy's spoken about this as well with like windshield replacements and the camera calibration and stuff, I don't really trust anyone else to work on it.
Yeah.
Other than maybe myself, because if there's something wrong, I could say, well, that was me. And at least I didn't have to pay someone to screw it up. And I know that, especially because we're using the car so much these days with more family stuff going on behind the scenes, it's like, we need this car. So we can't just drop it off somewhere for weeks and hope that it gets better. Like, we're using it every day at this point. We're using it a lot. So every day that they take it and say, we need this for the rest of the day, that's eating into our schedules and that's eating into my work time. So that's costing me money indirectly.
Right.
And I'm very much interested in going down the route of like, can I fix this? Do I just need to put some padding somewhere? Because it's not a big noisy sound. It's really subtle. And there's just as much little subtle noises that I notice that I'm sure are within spec, just little cracks and little pops when you're driving on a turn and you just hear the door make a little... Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that bugs me too, but I don't think Tesla's going to do anything about it.
Nope. I got something like that as well. On the back right, there is something that rattles, and I can't or I can't find it. Tesla's not going to do anything for it. I'd literally have to have you or Randy or someone in my life sit in the back, and while I'm driving, figure out where the location of this is. So maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need your buddy Ross or someone else to kind of sit or either drive the car or sit in the back and try to find out where it is, and then press their hands or foam or blanket or whatever against surfaces and try to locate where this sound leak is occurring. So
it just feels awfully wasteful that I got the dual pane glass, but then I have this. It's like, that improves the road noise. Great. Wonderful. I still hear a lot of road noise. Like, the loaner they gave me had less road noise.
Ooh.
Which I thought was hilarious.
You noticed it had more, but compared to your fixed Model 3, yeah. I get that.
Do you...
And, I mean, no one else says anything about it. It's just me. So...
You know why? Because they're probably...
Not in the driver's seat.
No, no one's had more time with the car than you. So, I'm sure if me or Mike drove it and we just turned everything on, I guarantee our ear would be like, hey, wait a minute. Like somebody who's familiar with a Tesla would be like, hey, wait a minute. What's that? Like that. I guarantee that would be a little bit different. If you have untrained ears for it, they probably wouldn't pay no mind one way or the other. And you know what? Also, maybe most people say they do have a Tesla and they don't pick it up. Music's loud or whatever. They got AC blasting. So something's already muting all that anyway, or deafening that part.
When I'm driving by myself, I have the music going. I can't hear it at all. Yeah. So the music totally kills it. But
to go back to your dilemma here, though. I sympathize about the distance thing. I understand that frustration. I think in a time where where it's able to be convenient for you, I think you should just keep trying it again. Don't put the liability on yourself. Put it on them, because at the end of the day, everything you have right now is still 100% under warranty. Put the liability back on them. Don't inherit the risk on you to be like, well, if it's broken, at least I can say it's me. I was not tricking you by saying going somewhere else. Is like, what's it worth to? I was gauging about like, what's it worth to you to try to get this situated.
It's more of a time issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So in a situation,
third party would be time faster.
I would say put all pressure back on Tesla. It's their job to do it. And it's the same thing like I said last time I took the car in, and what they told me. They're like, just bring it to us. It's our job to do it. I'm like, yeah, but you guys kind of, tick me off sometimes, and it's not convenient for me to come to you. I have to go an hour in either direction to get to any service center. There's 2, and I'm right in the middle. And that
pretty much the same story here.
So it's like either way is like I have to eat that cost somehow, and it's just put the liability back on them, because if it doesn't get fixed, it's one more thing you report back to, and I mean it. So
how many times would you give it though before you
consider
it a lost cause?
That's a good question, because I don't know if I would have the patience to give them a strike 2. I would have stayed there and oversaw. I would have been that Karen, or what's the guy Karen? Kyle. I would have been that Kyle.
I'd love to if I had that kind of time.
So now to my point, what's it worth to you in your time? It's free, but now you're eating up hours out of your day, because now it's actually costing you more for the fact that you have to forego work, and that's money lost. And now you also have to coordinate, like, okay, well, if my wife's going to pick me up, now you have to work with her schedule. There's many more elements involved here, and then you got to pay for gas. Like, there's so much more about what's going on in that, where how many more times would I give them? The thing is not in a threatening way. I just get confrontational. It's like, this is a problem, and now I'm here again, and I'm not telling you anything new. This is a problem, and I need it fixed. I don't live close by. I can't just take it anywhere. It's under warranty. You address it's an issue, and yet I'm not giving you any new information. That's a problem. Sir, I understand. I hear you, but again, nothing new about what's happening here. That's not a. It's like, I'm not looking for a handout of like, oh, we'll give you free super. I mean, I'll take the supercharging miles if that's what they could do. But like at this point, it's like, I just want my car fixed. It's there's noise leakage happening here, and the bigger issue is that I'm not giving you any new information. Has anything changed? No diagnostics is going to tell you that, like, oh, well, he went, like, no, it's exactly the same issue. But the problem is I have to keep coming to you, and I have to navigate through all this, and I have to get my schedule.
I wish I could get the mobile service. That would be
perfect.
Man.
I was gonna say, that'd be nice.
That'd be so sweet.
They won't do it here, but yeah, that would simplify a lot if they could just come out right now and look at it while I'm in here, instead of me having to drive out every time.
I would just tell them, honestly, so Drew. I would just tell them, it's like, I like, if you're talking to the person, if you're face to face with the person who's going to work on it, I would just.
I don't think I can do that now either.
If you could, I would emphasize that, like, I have to go out. Like, this is how far away I live, and I have to go out of my way to make all this happen. And for you, the issues are being brought to you, and you're doing what you have to do. But understand that, like, I am letting go of a lot right now, and I'm having to lose a lot, and time that I can't get back, and I'm losing work, and I'm losing this, and I have to take time out of other people's days, and I have to make accommodations for this, and I have to take another vehicle, and like, understand this, to say that if you could say this to the person, understand the severity, that it's not just, hey, your car's ready, come pick it up, I'll be on my way. There is a lot of pre-planning that goes into this, that I have to make this work. And if you tell me it might be ready by the end of the day, it might be overnight, those mights don't work for me. And that's what I had to tell these guys myself, is that I need definitives. And they're like, we will update you along the way. I was just stern about it, that, like, just understand where I'm coming from, that I don't live in this city. I am way out in the middle of over there, and this is as good as it gets for me. But it's not just bringing it to you. I have to go through a lot to get to you. So please.
No, I agree. I
Be attentive.
I don't know if I'm gonna have a person to be stern with anymore. It seems like they're moving all towards this touchless drop off, and you just put a key in a box and then you walk
There's
out.
going to be someone on the other side of the message board or the message log that you're going to have on the app. So that's where you voice it. Because it's not going to be like there's robots working on your car.
Right.
There's people in the shop working on the car, and they're going to ask questions and ask, like, where's it coming from and all that, and you can describe it. And that's where you air your grievances, which I think are warranted, especially like what Randy said and what you've said, where you're located in relation to the service center. So I don't think it's a lost hope or lost cause yet, especially if you stand your ground. It only becomes how many more service visits when you allow them to end the service visit the next time or the next time after that. You can have it done in one service visit. You just have to ensure that it's fixed, in which that may require you.
I can't do anything at that point because there's never been a person when I pick up the car every time. It's like, oh, we're out. It's done right as we close. So you pick it up when the app says it's ready for pickup, and then you go there and the door's closed. You just
why not pick it up the next day then?
Car. We need the car.
You need the car that day because if you're faring that long with the Sonata, I think 12 hours. 12 hours isn't necessarily a long amount of time if it's the evening and night when you're not necessarily driving, and then it's the morning when you're going to go to the service center when they're open.
I mean, just to have it sitting there overnight and then hope that there's someone to talk to about it the next day when the repair guys are all in the back. I don't have a lot of confidence that vocalizing my concerns is going to, because I did that. Like, that's what my whole last service visit was explaining to them, this is costing me time. I'm spending time away from work. Here's the situation. And he said, here's a loaner. We normally don't do it. My job's going away and we'll have it fixed. And here it is. And it's not fixed. So I feel like I'm glad that it's realigned and stuff, but it feels honestly like a waste of time to be like, I got to drive my gas car more and let them take the car for as long as they need it. And then I'm going to go back and it's not fixed. So what was the point of this?
Which I think that's when you ask for one of the people in the garage fixing the cars, because if there's no one there besides people in the garage fixing cars and then the people in the showroom trying to get people to buy cars, of course, the showroom people aren't going to be as much of help with fixing the problem, but they can go into the shop and grab someone and bring them out there for you. And that's when you do it. That's when you have the discussion. And that's when you take them for a drive, because this is your money that you're putting in to try to get this fixed, even though that you're not actually paying them to fix it because it's covered under warranty. It's still, at the end of the day, your money that you're having to waste to drive over to the service center that you have to. So I think there's a way around it. I think there's very much a respectful and cordial way of doing it with a certain amount of not stern, but confidence and seriousness with the issue, because it is not a deal-breaking issue, but it is an annoyance that you need solved. So as long as you go through some process of getting some attention from them without letting them kind of get around the issue by saying, we fixed it, also it's 5 p.m., so we're not going to be open, is not something that you should allow them to put you in that position of. You need to take charge.
There's somebody that they report to.
I can't take charge. That's the problem. Is like there's not like a big garage that you drive up to with a bunch of people working. It's like a parking lot with one guy in a lobby, and there's no like way to walk back and go behind the gate or something. Like, it's all locked up.
Where do they drive the car?
Probably behind the locked gate, but I can't go back there.
Then talk to the showroom person.
He's not there anymore. They were getting rid of his
showroom.
position.
The showroom people are going
There's
away?
not a showroom. It's just a service center. It's not a showroom plus service. Like, there's just service there. There's no place to look at cars. It's just a parking lot where guys come out and take the cars in the back. But like, I'm just not convinced that like vocalization is the problem. Like, they're doing a bad job repairing because I didn't come back and talk to them. I don't think that's going to change anything personally.
No, but
like,
they may not know specifically where the issue is that you're having. because like you said before, it might be within spec, but this isn't for you in regards to livability inside the car. So if you can't do that, there is the messaging portion of the app that you can get their attention with. Say, could you be out at the car at this time when I arrive so we can figure this problem out? Because it's not 100% detached.
If I thought they'd say yes, I'd try, but I doubt it because they're on the clock and they're like, nah, it's not ready till now. It just feels like, how many times would I have to do this and the problem not be solved before I'd say this isn't worth messing with anymore?
I would say the only other thing to do really is there's somebody that they report to and go talk to that person, not to tattletale, but just be like, I need somebody of authority inside the shop to understand that like this is a reoccurring issue, and there's a proper level of escalation that you're allowed to take, not complaints, but just like this is an issue. And I don't know what those stages are because I've personally have not experienced it. I don't want to experience it, but there is always a path forward in regards to escalating a ticket. Like any type of ticket, whether it's done on the app or a ticket's a ticket, and every ticket has levels of escalation. And if they can't fix it, and I mean, even on the service side, they escalate their tickets where it's like, I need an expert to come in to fix your cabin camera. Like they had to escalate my ticket to get somebody even higher than them in on this. Now that was on a technical side, but it's the exact same criteria for in a management position when it comes to operations. And like, okay, there's a disconnect that's happening within the operations, and this is causing there's keywords that I know work in other industries when you start to mention hardships about moving forward on things. Like I'm experiencing there's a hard stop that's happening here. It's causing a hardship in this situation because of where I live, how I have to commute, what that does to my job and how I make money, and all this comes to it. It might be under warranty, but it's still very much costing me money, and we're having the same issue, and I need proper attention on this. And as long as you hear somebody who says, yes, I am the district manager and I hear you and we will get this done, and if it still doesn't get done, at least you have them going back, what I said 20 minutes ago, put the liability back on Tesla. Well, so-and-so district manager of Service Center Tesla at this location said this. At some point, this does get the right ear's attention. Now I know what you're struggling with, Drew. Is like, is this even all worth it? If not, then for you, you're not. I guarantee you're not the only issue. You're not the only one who's having this problem, and
I'm sure. Yeah.
So there's a problem with the service center then if they're not able to identify, and even if it's like, I need to talk, like say it's a district manager to say, this non-human interaction about a drop-off, I get the convenience of it. That doesn't work for me because I need to communicate what's going on. So however you guys are moving forward, it's not working. You'd be surprised how much of a feedback that works to be like, we need to change the operations then on that, because it's not working then. It's not as simple as I need to replace this or cabin filter that. It's like, no, this is an issue. I need to talk to somebody to explain what's going on, because if you look at a blank slate here and sit down, you just run diagnostics on it and it's in protocol, then if it's in protocol, why would I bring the car to you? I understand that there's more to it. And what Mike is saying, within the texting, there's a log, so they can see that within there as well. But as long as that you are getting your feedback to the right ear through a certain escalation of the ticket, that then you have a clearer understanding to answer your own question about when is it enough, like how many more times do I have to do it. My answer would be up until the point where I get it escalated to the right ears, where it's not on me to say something, it's on you to act. Put the responsibility and the liability back on Tesla. It's their job to get it right. If somebody's get it wrong, there's a bigger issue that's happening at that service center, and within that, the operations of it. But then that's a more macro scale with it. And I know that that's not necessarily what you're focused on right now, but you should not have to be going through that.
But is is it my responsibility to figure out all these problems for them and escalate them to their district managers when I just want to drive? I just need to work. I'm not trying to fix the whole
Sure, but
customers. That's not my job.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's not your job, but it's not going to get fixed unless someone causes an uproar. Or at least does their due diligence.
I would hope somebody hears this podcast and that would be enough and it's done.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, nice. I hope they'd be like, okay, this is an issue. I would hope
but I wouldn't like the way they go about that either. I don't think just because you'd have a platform they should address it, but or treat you any differently than some random customer. But I'm weighing it as uproar doesn't guarantee fix. I'm still viewing it as you could get
I'm not
really
saying
upset,
uproar.
have more escalation, and cause an uproar, and the problem's not fixed. What was the point?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying uproar. I'm just saying that, like, you talking to the person who's hands-on with it, you're at the lowest common denominator of this chain. It's not working. You're going to go back for 3, 4, 5th stop here, and that's not working. Not to be
That's more annoying to me, like, going back several times to service visits or trying to escalate or trying to, like, just, I don't know, get more confrontational to whoever's working on the car. That to me is more annoying than the wind noise. That's why I'm at this dilemma. I was like, I'd rather just have some wind noise. Again, it's not super loud, it's not super noticeable, but it's just a little bit. And I'm like, I can live with that if it means I don't have to burn several days worth of driving and burn several work days out of
it should not have ever gotten that bad. And what if that means subconsciously even you're building up a certain animosity towards Tesla on that, you as a customer?
Oh, it's not it's not subconscious.
Okay, I know, but where I'm getting at is that, like, not as a content creator, not somebody who does this for a job, just as a customer, that, like, customer service is obviously, that's everything. And I know that we've all known for years that communication has been pretty bad with Tesla, and that's just something that, it doesn't make it okay, it doesn't make it right. But the fact that as a customer, someone who's given hard cash, and now you're building animosity towards it, let me say it like this: you shouldn't tolerate it at any level. You shouldn't do this with a house. If a home inspection was supposed to be done for you to complete the purchase of a home, and the home inspector is not doing their part for you to clear, underwriting while in the process of going through, an escrow, that's an issue. And and I don't even think the dollar amount should matter that much. Obviously, if somebody screws up your McDouble, that's something fine, whatever. What's that really worth then at that point? But when we get to the point where it's like, this is a lot of, there's pre-planning that goes into the pre-planning, and you have to get all these logistics together, and it's not something that's done within a day. You shouldn't have to go through it, and I'm not saying it's your responsibility to do it, but not doing anything doesn't fix your real issue. And at the end of the day, the real issue is that there's something wrong with your car, that you're within warranty and have every right to get it done. If you don't want to get it done, or if you don't choose to get it done, that's your prerogative. But by me, like, I think it's a missed opportunity if you don't take advantage of your warranty and get your car fixed that you spent money on. That's what it's worth to me.
If it was fixed, for sure, then I'd agree. But I don't have that guarantee at this point. Like, I don't know with certainty that it would be fixed.
Well, you never know unless you try. So,
well, he has tried.
I tried twice.
Well, he's already
tried.
Yes, but with a different tactic is what I'm trying to get at. With a different approach, instead of letting them get away with it. Because that's the definition of insanity, just throwing the car at them and then throwing it back.
At this point, I don't see how going back or trying to escalate would be much different than what I've already done, because the time I went back is when I brought my stuff and said, look, I don't have a way home. Like, I'm going to be here all day. That was me, like, I need this problem fixed. And I don't have that same level of confidence now that they're moving to the touchless drop-off, that texting someone a certain way is going to make them prioritize the repair process.
Scheduling for the repair guy to be there when you're there to pick up the car will, because it is a communication issue at the end of the day, because there's some breakdown in communication of there's a wind noise that needs to be eliminated. And the guy's like, okay, it's within spec. No, yes, but it shouldn't.
I don't
be
have
this...
the back out bargaining chip, I think, is the big difference. Like I can't use the term unacceptable because we've taken delivery. There's no return process, and I'm not going to be happy with any other vehicle. I know that. I've looked at other cars and I've looked at other EVs, and there's just going to be a different set of problems that would bother me. And I'm not interested in leaving the supercharging access. I'm not interested in having a car that doesn't have the phone app that the Tesla does. So there's so many things I love about it that I know I can't get outside, that I can't use that. This is unacceptable, therefore I'm leaving, or I'm done with it. Like, that's not an option to me at this point, or it's not even something I'm interested in doing.
Did you say that you are in the same situation with me where you're kind of in the middle of two different service centers?
I didn't know, because it's not entirely true, but I am closer to one than the other.
Because I would say go to the other one then.
Yeah.
Go to the other one.
Take a vacation over to the Bay Area and come to one of the places here.
It makes the time argument even worse.
Yeah.
Again, if I had all the time in the world, I would love to just hang out at the service center and hover over them as they're fixing it. But this is the reason I'm so hesitant to go back, is because we've burned so much time already.
Yeah.
And that eats into my working hours, and the family members that we're checking up on frequently is like, I can't do that if I'm stuck out here.
Yeah.
And how many times do I need to rearrange my schedule? Is like, that's why it's up in the air for me. That's why I'm like, look, all cars are going to have a certain number of quirks out of warranty or within warranty. There's going to be issues that are annoying, and there's going to be a little like, oh, I wish this was a little different. And like, I don't think there is a car that would just perfectly satisfy in all.
The 2019 long range dual motor Model 3.
I've heard that,
because I have to disagree with the sense that like I don't have any of those issues, and so I do got the dream car, and that's why I'm fighting for you to do something.
But you have your lead acid battery, and you've got
no. I'm not talking about literally that. I'm just, what I'm saying is that for you to say that every car has an issue, I disagree with. Because I don't have a quality control issue with mine. I never had panel gaps. I don't have leakage of anything like that. And I spent, as we've established, the same amount of money as you. So your dream car can be the perfect car as need be by getting it serviced.
No, I mean, it's not what I'm trying to say is that there's like no quality control. I'm saying there's things that you put up with even though it's not exactly what you wanted. Like you said yourself when I reviewed the car, you wanted a powered trunk. You wanted USB-C ports, but it's not a deal breaker, so you put up with that. You're like, it's fine. I can live without it. That's how I'm feeling towards this, is like, I can live with it. It's not a deal breaker, but how much time or escalation should be put into this?
Is there a climate leakage that's happening in the car? Like, do you get wind actually coming in, or are you losing AC or heat? Okay,
it's only noise.
Okay.
It's just a little noise, and again, it's not super noticeable unless you're like, turn off the AC, turn off the music, listen. Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I'm like, is this whole process of going back and trying to argue with more people and trying to get your point across, is that all worth that little noise? Is what I'm trying to battle in my head. If I had some more free time, maybe in the future, then I might be more open to it. I'm not exactly sure when the within warranty, like, free repair thing stops and when it starts to become this costs money to repair.
Well, the fact that it's been a known issue and they've last said that it hasn't fixed the issue should I don't want to say leave the ticket open, but it should be noted that it's like this is not resolved still. So the fact that there's at least a record of that under your VIN is promising, that you can go back when you do have time. You have to take a break from your job at some point. You have to go on vacation at some point, and while you're taking time away,
but I usually need the car on those.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is that like eventually you will have more time than having obligated, Monday through Friday these times or podcasting this. Like there should be an opening there. But all that to say that like the fact that it's not resolved and they know it's not resolved and there's a log about it not being resolved should help any case about like you missing your window of being outside of a time period of, oh, I'm outside of my warranty. Well, this was within it. It has not been resolved. So there you go. That should help. Yeah.
We'll see.
It's
Yeah,
it's a hard thing, man, because that whole, like, I've humbled myself about being outside of a city to understand this whole time restraint thing. It's like I have to work around Brittany's schedule on base, and sometimes she just can't get off to come pick me up. So I have to like work around that. And
Sure.
the last time I went in, they said we could be done within 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm staying right here. Then are you sure we could call you? Like, I can't go home. Look where I live. I have to tell them where I live for them to be like, ooh, you had to come all the way down here. I'm like, well, we're just not within up there.
Ooh. Yeah.
So yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough call. Yeah.
And a lot of it is, because my wife just texted me a while ago, she texted me the definition of the hedonic treadmill. Tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. So I think there's a lot of truth to that, because there's, things that are annoying or I wish were different, but I put up with because, you're never going to get extreme, like, exact levels of perfection. So I'm trying to, like, encourage myself to focus more on the things I do like and the things I've gained, and just be more grateful for those.
Sure.
And enjoy them on a daily basis, because that doesn't take time away. That doesn't take, money out of my day to just be like, I'm going to use the car today because we need to, and I really enjoy it. I like this music the system, and I like the HVAC. I like that I can cool it. I like that I can lock it or unlock it remotely, and just dwell more on the positives, because there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of anticipation leading up to this purchase.
Definitely.
And there's certainly, like, especially with the Navigate on autopilot and the phantom braking, like, there's been criticism and complaining from me and my wife. But, she reassured the other day, too. She's like, I hope when I'm complaining, I'm not saying I regret the purchase or I wish we got a different car. She's like, I still think this was the best one we could have gotten, and I don't think there's a better car out there for what we prioritize in a vehicle. So it's important that the audience also pick that up, is like, there's criticisms, and it's easier to highlight things that you think are wrong or need to be addressed than it is to just say things you like, because you don't get to expand as much on those. It's good. That's great. They got it. I like that. Topic closed. That's about all we could say about it. But when there's something wrong, then you can explain, like, okay, strategy, how should I handle the wrong thing, or what could be done, or is it worth, because I'm sure a lot of people just hear the story and think, oh, no, buy a different car. VW is way better. Just buy a 94 or something. There's the quick, like, bailout, or like, just don't buy that product. But that's the hard part, is like, you found something you want, you found something you really like, but there's something about it you wish was different, and you can't get those same attributes in another purchase. Mm-hmm. So that's the dilemma, I guess, is just accepting that not everything is going to be perfection. And this is just one of those, like, pick your battles moments for me, of like, is this worth all the trouble, or do I really, really want to ensure this is exactly the way it's supposed to be? No matter what happens, I need to fight for it. And I'm like, I've got so much other stuff going on.
Yeah. If you're busy, then you're busy, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That just means your priorities are somewhere else, which is good, because those priorities, or whatever tasks that you're doing on the other side of it, are that much more important, to where, oh, woe is me, I have to listen to a little bit of wind noise in my car, but at least I get to have time spent with this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
right.
It's all, of course, like you said, take it into context. Which do you find more valuable at the time? But I don't know. I think...
Yeah, and I hope people know it's okay to share grievances or disappointments, even with products or services you love, so that expectations are in check. That's kind of what all of Realism EV since the beginning has kind of been about, is like setting realistic expectations. Because I saw, different Mike. There's so many Mikes in the world, but a guy on Twitter, a guy that I interact with on Twitter quite a bit and online, named Mike in the Woods. He's been waiting for his Cybertruck for so long. He just decided to pull the trigger on a white-on-white Model 3 rear-wheel drive to hold him over until the Cybertruck is ready. And I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him, and I hope he enjoys it. But I also want people that are getting into the Tesla world to understand whether it's, you know, batteries or camera replacements or hatches or wind noise. Like, a lot of Tesla people still have their service stories. They still have their quality control complaints, or that, you know, like, that. Understand, as cool it is to see it on your order page and you know it's coming and you got to wait for your delivery window and stuff. Understand there will be flaws. There will be things you might want different, or even the Cybertruck to that same extent. When that's ready, a lot of people have that built up in their mind as the dream vehicle. There's so much hype. There's so much waiting behind it. Like,
imagine that when you have to take a Cybertruck to a service center and there's no one there, and you have to park it there, and then they have to figure out the issue, and it's not fixed. You're without a truck for that long, man.
Yeah, a truck
Yikes.
you probably paid 6 figures for.
Yep, there's
5.
no room.
Quit
it,
I'll
Nick.
double down. I still think it's gonna be 6, but yeah, it's a sucky situation, and I'm all for the shoulds. I know, like, it's very easy to just say it shouldn't be that way. They should treat you this way. I know they should.
The word
we can
should
all
is
agree
overrated.
on that. It's like, you know, the car should be free and have 500 miles of range, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
that would be nice, and I would like
Absolutely.
that. So it should be that way. But you have to be realistic about what's possible. And even my wife was defending them, which I was kind of impressed by. She's like, look, you expect these like really complicated vehicles with all of these different components and moving parts and stuff, and every single service agent is going to know exactly how to fix it perfectly every time. It's like, that's also probably a little bit unrealistic, especially when there's a labor shortage and you want skilled technicians that are capable of working on these vehicles. Like, we
These
want
are new
Tesla to
vehicles.
expand their service.
These are very new
What's
vehicles
that?
as well. These are new EVs.
Oh,
They're
yes,
not typical
yes.
gas cars, so it's a whole different
Right.
beast.
Yeah. I mean, with all the different complexities of it, I'm sure road noise might have some carryover, but still, like the door design and how that comes apart, or the trim design, you know, all these little complexities, and assuming that there's just any guy off the street they can just hire within a day will be able to fix it flawlessly.
Duct tape.
I'm honestly close to doing that. I'm wondering, like, it's such a quiet noise. Like, could I just put some black tape on this part of the trim and that will seal it? Like, if that's all it takes, I would rather do that, even if it is tacky. Because, again, I really don't care about the cosmetic stuff that much. So I'm wondering how simple of a solution there is, potentially, and just kind of investigating it myself, because then at least I have the car in the process, and I'm not leaving it at some place for 10
Sure.
hours a day. So it's ongoing, but I
Yeah.
appreciate the advice, or what you guys have said. It's given me lots to think about, and
Your worry and annoyance is validated. Know that, Drew.
thank you.
It is very validated. You should not settle for less.
I know I shouldn't.
Oh my!
There's that word again.
You
No, but like, I mean,
What must be done, Lord Andrew? Show
I really
no
know that feeling 'cause-
mercy. Do it.
Mike's wearing a Rivian shirt today, audio listeners, and I watched Kyle from Out of Spec do his first service visit with his Rivian, and oh my god, my issues are minuscule compared to the problems he was having with his R1T. And that was a vehicle that I was like, oh man, I was like low-key jealous. You know, I couldn't justify the cost or the capability for my own lifestyle, but I was like, man, those guys are so lucky they get to, you know, buy those Rivians and use them and have these really cool trucks with all this capability. And then you see them like, oh, this broke, this not working, this fell apart. I'm like, oh my god, can you imagine how that would feel if you dropped like twice as much as I did on my car, and you're having like 3 times as many problems, and you just have to go, well, new company,
more
startup.
money means more problems.
Pretty much. Yeah. So that's something else I'm reassuring myself with is like, Drew, you probably would have had similar issues even if you bought a six-figure vehicle from Tesla. So just be grateful that, okay, the cheap one has some problems. Makes sense. But imagine how you would have felt if you bought the not cheap one and still had problems. Like you would have been even more upset or angry. So
it's the price you have
Just-
to pay as an early adopter to this stuff.
that's true.
Yep.
And I also think that quality control problems are likely pretty common with new gas cars too. They just don't get talked about as much because it's such a big ocean of deliveries, and less people are going to be shocked to find out that the new Camry had some panel gaps or something. You know, no
The
one's going to
amount
write
of
articles
new
about
cars that I saw this week with new paper licenses and all that. Do you think there's that many people out there voicing their concerns about the quality control of their car? No.
that. Probably not.
Probably not. But they still do exist. So you take that into context. I don't know. That's something that we think about, at least with the eventual upgrade from our ICE truck to a EV truck, is what company is going to provide the least amount of headache in terms of servicing and support and all of that. So it's like, well, the Cybertruck looks pretty cool, and it's supposed to be this big unibody design or whatever, like this big exoskeleton, so there shouldn't be that many issues, but I guarantee there's going to be many, many issues with the Cybertruck in terms of some panel gaps and the trim not being right and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's what makes us think, well, maybe there's some promise in waiting and looking at what the Legacy Auto comes out with and how things settle.
Sure.
Because if you're not willing to settle for 300 miles, then you got time to wait for things to mature on the service side. So,
Because it's not all, it's not all benefits to be an early adopter. There's a lot of downsides to trying to be on the cutting edge and the latest and greatest, especially if you're buying from any company that's going through a ramp-up process, which Tesla is essentially always, at all times, going through a ramp-up process. There's going to be missed details and things that they bypass or don't scale well because they're figuring out, how do we build this many EVs? They weren't thinking, how do we service this many EVs?
Right.
That wasn't on the forefront.
It's very
on
true.
Their mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you have unlimited demand like this, like I respect it from a business perspective as a shareholder. I admire, like, yeah, even with quality control problems that annoy me or service issues that annoy me, Tesla doesn't really need to worry that much about what I think because they know there's still going to be a line of people willing to buy them. And until we're in a point where they're demand constrained and they need to work on what people's biggest issues are with the brand in order to get more people buying the car, they're at all the advantage. We don't have much of a bargaining chip at this point. We can't say, well, I'm taking my money elsewhere. They'd be like, great, bye, see ya. We still got a 6-month backlog. So until that backlog's gone, there's very little motivation for them to step it up. So
buy a Polestar.
And a Ridge wallet.
God. Why do we suddenly get sponsored by Ridge? Anyway, I appreciate you guys for letting me take over the whole episode this week. That was nice.
You're Nick this week.
And we'll talk about something else, I'm sure. Well, Randy will have his beta experience. I'm curious how that's going to go.
And I get 5
I'm
new
Nick
canoe vehicles
next
in
week.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
That too.
Mike's getting canoes.
Yeah, I'm
That's
getting
fun.
5 of them. It'll be great.
Ooh.
We'll talk about that next week.
Oh.
Sounds good. Take care, all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.